let's talk about the differences between vision and ambition, because I think that vision confuses a lot of people, okay? So I've defined vision for you. Let's talk about ambition. Ambition is the things that you desire to have. So ambition is not a bad thing. It's a driver. It's a motivator. I desire to have, you know, maybe let's say a mansion and a beautiful Bentley, or you could desire to have a Ferrari. You could desire to get a degree. They don't have to be you know, physical things. You could desire to see your children become successful in life. Those are ambitions. You could desire to progress in terms of your future, in terms of your education. That's an ambition. But when you speak about a vision is about impacting the lives of other people. It has nothing to do with you really, except that the vision comes through you. So a lot of people, when they look at vision, they think of something that they desire just for themselves. But a vision is about serving other people. And when you think about serving other people, you start to think, well, do I have the financial ability to serve other people? When it comes to vision, I want you to know that God is not checking your bank account. He's checking your faith when it comes to vision. He's checking the size of your faith. And so know the difference between having an ambition and having a vision. And know that both are okay to have. But it's pointless to have an ambition without a driving vision, because the vision is what encompasses all those things. Now, briefly here, we're going to look at, if you journey through life without a vision, if you start life without having an end in mind, you are like an aeroplane that has taken off without a destination. And you know that the aviation authorities tell us that a plane cannot take off without first having determined where it's going. Months before you booked the ticket, they already knew that there was going to be a plane going to Chicago before you booked it. And that's what your life and your vision ought to be. Your vision ought to make your life simple, because you know where you are and where you are going. And so, now we're going to talk a little bit about the verse that says that without a vision, the people perish. And I want to expound to you what I believe that this means. It doesn't mean that the person dies. It means that a person just wanders aimlessly through life. If you look at people and they just appear to be wandering through life and they don't seem to have direction of where they want to go, what they are lacking is a vision. I say to you that if you cannot see yourself being the thing you want to be, you cannot be it. If you can't see yourself doing the thing that you want to do, you cannot do it. If you cannot see yourself having the thing that you want to have, you cannot have it. The thing that you want to do, be, and have has to be in your vision. You have to completely see yourself performing the tasks that you want to do. Now, let me tell you a personal testimony about vision that I believe will help you. Back in 1992, one of my uncles came to the house, and he had a ledger that he was using. And I didn't have enough money to buy a journal. And so I asked him for that ledger, and he gave it to me. This is the ledger right here. And in this ledger, I wrote, back in those days, I wrote what I want to do, be, and have. One of the things I wrote was that I wanted to be in the United States of America by the year 2000. Now, that just didn't come about. It came about because of a friend of mine named Jeffrey. Me and Jeffrey were standing in the schoolyard, and he asked me this question. He said, CJ, where are you going to be in the year 2000? I said to him, Jeffrey, I have no idea. And I had no idea that he was about to teach me something huge. Jeffrey said that he was going to be in the United Kingdom. I said, Jeffrey, how do you know that you're going to be in the United Kingdom? He said, well, it's because I was born in in Britain. I'm a kingdom citizen. He was a kingdom citizen. And he showed me that he had a British passport. Now, beloved, I want you to understand. I told you that I'm from Zimbabwe for a good reason. I was born in Zimbabwe. Because when you're in Africa, it's really challenging for you to travel or to migrate or to go anywhere else outside of Africa unless you are like a citizen of that country. The costs, just the costs of going are very inhibiting to a lot of people. You literally have to sell everything you've got just to get a ticket to go somewhere like that. And so I was recognizing that Jeffrey had a vision about where he was going to be. And I decided in my very small way right then, I think I would have been maybe about 15. I decided that I would write down what I would do. And what I decided is that I would be in the United States of America. And I wrote that in this book. Now, I wrote several other things. I wrote what kind of cars I would have, what kind of home I would have. Those sound like what I talked about when I discussed ambition. But I wrote those things and I could see myself doing them. And when I look at my life right now, it is an exact reflection of what I was talking about and what I was writing down in 1992. I mean, that ought to fascinate somebody, because it fascinates me every time I think about it. It encourages me to write down whatever it is that I desire. Because that's why I say to you in the beginning that this is not really, God is not asking you nicely. It's a commandment. Your future requires to know that you have a vision. It requires to know that you are serious about it as it's serious about you. Your future requires to know that you're serious enough to give it time to become clear about what it is that you're going to do. Now, here are a couple of points that can help you. A lot of people say, well, how do I get started? Okay? So here's how you get started. You get started by taking a pen and a pad and writing down the thing that you desire. That's number one. Number two, if you have things that bother you, things that anger you, okay, take note of those things and write those things down, because those things, whatever angers you, you were born to solve. Finding solutions to those challenges is what you were created for. Creating value to you and me means solving problems for the rest of the nations. Your kingdom mandate, like I said, your kingdom vision has to do with solving issues, solving problems, impacting the lives of other people. Now, the third thing is when you write it down, you have to do the next thing. You have to become clear. Now, becoming clear is not something that God does for you. It's something that you do for yourself. Well, how do you do that? You have to get to a place where every day you are thinking about that vision and spending time in that vision so that it can become clearer to you. Because when a vision comes to you, when I wrote that vision in 1992, that was a skeleton of a vision. What I'm doing now is not what I thought when I was writing that vision. It grew because as I learned more, I started to understand more. And I started to become used more in my gifting. When you first start your vision, it's small. You might not fully understand what's all incorporated with it. But that's why you must write it down, because the more you do it, the more you learn, the greater it becomes for you. And then the fourth thing, and this is important, it's not a one and done. In other words, it's not that I wrote that in 1992 and that's still just my vision from now on, since then. Because I just shared with you a different vision. I told you that by the year 2025, we desire to have impacted 1 billion people around the world. Now, I've written that down, and as I learn more things and learn about online platforms and learn about how to reach more people, my vision is growing. So my vision is going to grow beyond that because I am clear about what it is that we want to do. So I said to you that John Maxwell says, if you have a clear vision, then strategy comes. If you don't have a clear vision, no strategy will save you. And so this is really important. Here is the application. I did say to you that I want this to not just be, filled with verses that you've heard before, even though that's important. I want to give you things that you can begin to do that's practical right away that your future will thank you for. Here's the thing. The first thing that I would say you need to do, I've already shown you how to write down the vision. But the next thing you need to do is for 15 minutes a day, for just 15 minutes a day. Say 15 minutes a day. Just say that. Okay, for 15 minutes a day, sit down with a pen and a pad and think, simply think about what it is that you desire to do. Out of the 4 things that I've just given you, think about what bothers you. Think about what solutions you can offer to that. Think about those things and simply begin to write them down. Make it welcome in your spirit for you to not know everything, but to receive that that's what you want to do and write it down. And that simple formula is going to change your life. Because that's, if I'm calculating, that's like 88 hours almost of thinking time if you do it almost on a daily basis. That's 88 hours a year of thinking time. It's impossible for you to have an issue that cannot be overcome by sustainable thoughts. If what you don't have is a vision, then your first homework is to have one. Your first assignment is to have one. If you don't have a purpose, your first assignment is to seek your purpose. If you don't have a plan or a goal, then your first mission is to find a goal, to create one. How do you do that? For 15 minutes a day. Invest in just thinking time about your vision. How does this connect with Proverbs 12, verse 11? I did say you can't be used by him if you ain't using what he gave you, right? And so what he gave you is land. He gave you mind. How do you cultivate your mind? I did say to you, for 15 minutes, you could cultivate your mind by thinking into your vision. And I know that the brain and the mind that God gave you has the ability to create for you a very clear vision.